What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another week of the Focus TV. This is going to be an interesting one here. Man.
I'm going to just look up at the ceiling.
If you guys follow us along on social media, we've seen Cardell and our guest, Coach Seney. They already got, had some fun banter back and forth on social media. So thank you to both of them for that. If you don't follow us on social media, you should do so. It's typically kind of fun come Tuesdays and any other day that we're an event that we are covering. So again, welcome to the Focus TV. If this is your first time. We cover sports in the DC area, credentialed outlets. So we try to give you guys the best of the best. Today, we got some DC United updates. We got some Wizards preseason updates. Octavius, looking forward to your...
non-petty session. Go ahead.
I'm not going to be petty. We're going to talk about the NFC East today. And then Coach Seney.
What's going on in here?
It's gonna be a long one today. We're gonna talk about your team, and then we're obviously gonna talk about your other team, and somewhat deity, but we'll get into that a little bit later. All right, so Coach at Harford Community College, you're the head coach of the varsity women's team. So, quick question for you. With the success that you've had, as the women's game continues to change, we've seen on the pro level, the collegiate level, athleticism, it's getting to a scary place. We look forward to it as it continues to grow. Looking at, you have to put together a roster each and every year. How has that impacted your recruiting?
Well, for us, usually our history has kind of spoke for itself as far as the recruiting ranks are concerned. When I first started, I was that guy that was on the road, 3, 4, 5 times a week. And now I've been able to kind of lay my hat on, our rich history over the past 4 or 5 years. And what I try to do is I try to build relationships with the top AAU programs, and which I've done. And that's really it. We're a staple now, whereas though we're one of the best teams in the country, not just in Maryland. So when a kid has to, you guys know how Juco works, and usually you get those kids who are D1 kickbacks or aren't quite there academically. So I get those phone calls when those kids are from this area, and that's what we've had success keeping the DMV kids here instead of going to the top JUCOs down in Florida and Texas and everything like that. So building those relationships with the AAU coaches and our rich success has kind of built our recruiting ranks.
All right, we talk a lot just how important it is for both players and coaches to continue to keep learning, that it doesn't stop, it shouldn't stop. Who are some of your favorite coaches that you might look at, whether it's on the WNBA, NBA, or collegiate ranks that you enjoy watching and sometimes borrowing ideas from at times?
I'll give you one for college and NBA. So for women's college basketball, Quentin Hillsman over at Syracuse, I actually got on him late, to be honest. About 2 years ago, I was watching a Syracuse women's basketball, or was it 2 or 3 years ago? When they made it to the Final Four, I think it was 2 years ago. And their style of play was very, very similar to ours. He preaches the three-point shot, and that's what I preach, and not just talking about it, because a lot of coaches, especially today, every time you talk to a coach, it's we want to get up and down, and that I really don't know what they mean, when they say that, because it's a mindset that you have to have. And I remember Coach Q speaking vividly about the training aspect and training their mind to know that everything we do is run and gun. You know what I mean? Even in practice. So I remember, and each year I do this. So last year as a team, they attempted 338 three-point shots. Last year I think we were around 285. I want to beat that. I want to beat his record every single year. All right, what did Syracuse shoot? We need to shoot that. So he's one for the women's college basketball game, and for the NBA game, Mike D'Antoni. Mike D'Antoni, I got on him late too when he became the Lakers coach. I started to listen to the way he talked about space and pace. He doesn't get enough credit for the way the NBA game is right now. If I know you guys probably remember, but he was the coach and Steve Kerr was the GM. And Steve Kerr actually wound up getting rid of him,
Yep.
and is actually doing the same thing that he kind of started, So, and that's his motto is 7 seconds or less. Our motto is 10 seconds or less. So, that's just two of the coaches that I look up to for right now.
104-12 record overall since you started. Talk about the ups and downs of that journey, because it's a short statement looking at it from hindsight, like 4 or 5 years, but that level of dominance, a lot of work had to be done. So talk about the ups and downs of making that become a reality, that type of winner.
The turnover, the turnover is definitely something that every year it's like, man, we gotta break these habits over and over again, and it gets tiring, but when they get it. Like right now, yesterday we had the best practice shoot of our preseason. We've been going since first week of September, and just breaking those bad habits and everything like that. But as you can see, and by the time March gets here, we're where we need to be, and the success is there, obviously. So of course, there's many ups and downs, and building a roster, it takes time, and especially with Juco kids, because you play Juco. Everyone's trying to prove themselves, so the chemistry, it gets there a little late. We usually don't become. I tell the girls all the time, we're not going to become a team until December. When we go to war with each other, that's when you become a team. The first couple of games of the year, we're filling each other out. We're not going to become a family until December. So, those are some ups and downs we deal with being, a Juco program. But I tell you, the success, it outweighs the negative stuff.
You had a WNBA size on the roster this year. You have 9 players 5'10" or above, with the tallest player being 6'5". Was it Lucia Ahassan? I hope I ain't butchering her name.
That's actually correct.
Oh, okay. That's how ghosts move. But go ahead. We're going to get into that later. We're going to get into that. Was that the idea to get bigger like that, or that just came from just recruiting?
Well, so right now I'm struggling with being not only a national contender, but a national winner. Mm-hmm. And we had to get longer. And I made that a priority this year. I actually turned away a few good players just because I didn't think they fit on that national level competition as far as length is concerned. And you guys know this. Guards come a dime a dozen. You're going to get good guards. I prioritized good wings and good forwards this year, and I've never done that. My whole motto since I've been a coach was, if you got good guards, you can compete for a national title. Everybody has good guards. You know what I mean? Everybody has good guards. So we still want to bring in those good guards, but we wanted to bring in wings who could now compete with those national level wings, and that's the difference when you get down to Texas for the national tournament. Like, you got wings that are playing, at Texas, at Oklahoma. We've played against everyone who's now on that big stage. So I'm pretty excited about our group this year, and I think we can compete nationally because we are longer and more athletic.
Okay. You have 3 outstanding players that you probably leaning on to be leaders, in 5'11", Elijah Demeza, out of Frederick, Maryland, who was a freshman last year, averaged 11 points. The return to Danya Ray, who had a medical red shirt, 6'1" forward, and who was averaging 16 points and 14 rebounds before she went down, and 5'8" Taisha Smith, who was 2016 Baltimore Metro Player of the Year, and the transfer from Seton Hall. What do you think each bring to the table, and how will you lean on them from the coaching aspect?
So to start with, Elijah, it's Elijah, by the way. It's spelled just like Elijah, though. Elijah was a kid that we brought in a year ago who was a project all the way. She looked the part, but didn't really have the skill. And sometimes, I know you know this, in Juco you have to take risks just to see what they can be. We took a risk on her, and it's worked out. She's been playing excellent basketball. East Carolina University head coach came to our practice yesterday, and was in love with her. And we're talking about a kid that didn't have nothing but D3 schools coming out of high school. And that shows the growth that she has had over the past year. And we're really excited. She was a top 40 Juco freshman last year, shooting limited minutes. She started for us, but, she played about 19, 20 minutes a game. So we're really excited about the jump she has made. She really reminds me, I know I'm a Laker, but she really reminds me of Brandon Ingram. She's long, she's athletic, still a little raw in certain areas, but, that her length just jumps out at you. As soon as you see her, she's the top girl in our press. I'm expecting big things out of her. Dahlia Red it's funny, she was our leader last year, sophomore leader, and she went down, I think, game 4, 3 or 4, whatever it was, and she was playing her tail off. We actually came down here and scrimmaged Georgetown, and she had 23 points, 11 rebounds at Georgetown against 2 all Big East Conference players. She was on the path to success, and then she went down, and we didn't know. We found out the first week or second week of September that she was going to get her year back. We shut her down, obviously academically, put her in part-time classes and everything like that to make sure her clock didn't continue to go, and we just kind of put it in God's hands, and she got her medical hardship, and she was able to get that year back, and she's back with us. So, obviously she's one of the top players in the country, and we're excited about her. Last but certainly not least, Taisha Smith, and this is the success of our program was able to get her. As far as decorated, she's the most decorated player that's ever come to Harford. As you said, she was Baltimore Metro Player of the Year. She was on that St. Francis team that went undefeated. Won everything, and went to Seton Hall. Had some issues there, off the court, and we were able to have a good relationship with one of her AAU coaches, and I got the phone call and we sealed the deal. Taisha Smith she's easily one of the best guards in the country, and probably one of the best players in the country.
You spoke about it earlier a little bit, but what would it take to get the national championship?
Everything, and you guys know this, like to win a national title, everything has to align the right way. All the stars have to align. It's not a series. The best team doesn't always win. Right. So the matchups got to be right. We have to be playing good basketball, and that's it. I think we have the talent. But you never know. You never know how the talent will come together. So it all depends. When we get down there in March, if we're playing good basketball, I think we can win the national title. But we have a long way to go, and but I do believe this is the closest we've been as far as talent. It's just purely talent. This is the most talented team I've ever had. But we'll see what happens. Everything has to come together.
Okay, so, excuse me. So I always wonder, especially when it comes to coaching, like, was there anything that, put you on the path to coaching? Did you always think you would be a coach? Did you never thought you would be a coach? Like, what actually put you in the realm of becoming a coach?
It's funny you asked that. We were talking about that the other night. Like, at a young age, I knew I was going to coach. I was a good player. I wasn't a great player. And usually the good players are the ones, the average players are the ones that become coaches. And I knew it early on. All I did was watch basketball. So it was easy for me, and I had a heck of a mentor and father. So that just pushed it, even further. So, and he was a coach. So, having that, your father's a coach, and you're a player, and my brother as well. He was a player, so we just grew up in it. So it was easy for me to take that route because I wasn't the athlete. You know what I mean? I was just a smart ball player. That was it. I was a quarterback too. So I was a smart kid. Just kind of thought I knew everything. Still do believe that, by the way.
So with all of the accolades you guys have gotten over the past years, do you ever find it hard to keep the team engaged? Because I know, like, I can remember, like, in high school, like, when you're, like, the team to beat and, you know, you're good, you kind of sometimes rest on your laurels. So do you ever find it hard to keep them engaged and keep them, you know, pushing forward?
You know, this is my 5th year, and you are the first person to ask me that. And I do interviews all the time. That is a great question, and I'm gonna tell you what it takes. It takes having little challenges for those games, right? So my challenge is, obviously, we're a 3-point shooting team. My challenge is, all right, we make 23s this game, no practice tomorrow. You know, I'll say, all right, guys, let's get 10 ball reversals for a 3, no practice tomorrow, and I have my assistant write it down, whatever the case may be. So, you know, we give them little games within the game, you know what I mean? And so you know, when we're playing, I'm not going to, you know, say any bad, you know, when we're playing the game, you know, that, you know, we know we're going to win 2 weeks in advance, and that's just girls basketball, you know. It's, you know, I'm not being confident or anything like that. It's just the way it goes. But we have little challenges for that game. So whether it's, you know, not having weight room the next morning or whatever the case may be, we try to give them little challenges within the game.
All right. Talking about the spacing, I really like what you said earlier about, you know, teams talk a lot about they want to run a gun, they want to kind of live that space and pace life, but they're usually not built for it or don't commit to it, rather. All right. So for you, not to get into anything schematically or anything like that, but is it a challenge sometimes? Well, not even a challenge. How do you go about teaching the type of spacing that you want for your system?
It's repetition, you know. And it's funny. I was just telling Cardell. I was talking to Coach Bush the other day, the coach from PG Community College. He asked me the same question. He was like, you know, how do you get your team to understand how you exactly want to play? And I take it back, and I'm not calling my kids dogs, but I take it back to training a dog. You know, when you get a puppy, you know, when that puppy poops on the floor and not the pad, you have to show him, hey, this is the pad right here, you know, and continuously every single day, take his nose to the pad, you know. So what we do is every single day we do the same transition drills. We do the same fast break drills, whatever the case may be. You know, we do the same drills, and even running to get water. When I say it's a water break, they have to run to get the water. They have to run to each station, whatever the case may be. Their mind is trained. We are running. Everything's running. We run the circle at the end of practice. You know, it doesn't matter. We have to run. And as far as the spacing is concerned, spacing is the most difficult thing to teach. We still, I mean, today it's October the 9th. We still aren't where we need to be spacing-wise, and we have a game coming up on Thursday. But it comes, you know, it comes. It's something that, you know, that comes a little later. But we do the same things. You know, we show how we want them spaced. You know, we put cones out on the floor to say, all right, you need to be wider than this cone coming down. So it's just a matter of time, but we train them. You know, we train their minds.
I know you was talking about, you know, you make everybody run. But so how did you feel you saw LeBron run from KD instead of
wow.
And here we go.
Already, so that part of the interview's over, I see.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out when he was running. Was he running the game he had 51, 8, and 8? Was that the game?
Game 3 when KD had 60% from the field, 60% from 3, and 100% from the free throw line.
So you're talking about the game where
the dagger further
the dagger
out,
3. So when Tristan Thompson when Tristan Thompson was supposed to step up over the screen.
You the best player. You supposed to be on that.
We're switching everything, Cardell. What do you mean?
No, I got this. I got this, but you don't want that. You don't.
They have been switching everything the first 3 games of the series, and Tristan Thompson decides not to switch on that particular play.
And they won both of those games, right? So shouldn't your best player in the world, the greatest player ever, according to you, shouldn't he switch it up, do something, try something different?
I mean,
it ain't working, right?
I'd rather give the credit to Kevin Durant. That was a great shot, Kevin. Great shot. I mean, come on, we're switching everything. We're switching everything.
Them boys, good lord. I was like, God.
If I'm Ty Lue, I'm mad at Tristan Thompson. Tristan Thompson has to step up and make him drive that basketball. You can't let him walk into that 3. I mean, I'm screened. I'm LeBron James. I got screened.
Are you talking about the Steph Curry brush screen?
You let Steph Curry?
You felt like that?
Guys, so you have to go with Steph. You have to go with Steph on that screen. Mm-hmm. Because if you don't, KD makes a pass, boom, game. So you had guys.
He,
I mean,
he the ball in that boom game. That's exactly what happened. See, that's why these came out. That's why these came out, boy. Oh, man. Boy, I'm trying to tell you, 2 years in a row. I don't see how you be the GOAT when you get swept like that. That's the third time.
So as a coach, I'm inclined to say basketball is the ultimate team sport.
Oh, now it's a team sport.
So I'm inclined to say that. Girls, I know y'all are listening. It's the ultimate team sport.
Okay, let's go to the Lakers. So how you feel about King James being the best Laker ever all time?
So
Right.
So, real quick for everyone out there, and the people that know me, I know a lot of people are listening that know me. I was not a LeBron James fan, and what happened was I was watching the series against the Toronto Raptors, and LeBron proved to me, like he's been proven to all of us, he is the greatest basketball player to ever live. Now, as far as being the greatest Laker, it's a different conversation.
Okay, so how you gonna be the greatest player ever, but you're not the greatest player of a team? That don't make no sense.
He is the greatest player to ever put on a Laker jersey. Yes.
You sound a little bit like
He's the greatest player to ever put on a Laker jersey.
Okay.
Does that make him the greatest Laker to ever play for that franchise?
There you go with that narrative. You sound a little Skip Bayless.
I mean, because we
Skip Bayless-ish.
we just have to put everything into context. You have to. You can't, because not everything's general. You have to break it down in literal terms.
Okay. So literally, he done got swept 2 years in a row. So how is he to go?
It was a game 5. It was a 5-game series the year before.
No.
It was a 5-game series the year before, and he also came back from 3-1 the year prior to that.
Okay, when he got Draymond, that happened. But no excuses, what I'm saying? They got it done on all that. Okay, so.
And not only did they get it done, he averaged a triple-double for that series.
Okay, I mean.
And proved to everyone he was the best player on the planet.
I mean, shout out to Kyrie for hitting a lot of those shots, man. I mean, Kevin Love, good Lord. I mean, dang.
So 38, 12, and 12.
I mean, but who hit the game winner this silly? It sure wasn't him.
Real quick, I need to talk to somebody that's
I'm
objective.
not here.
So 38. So real quick.
You let George Hill decide the game at the free throw line, and then JR get dribbling out. You blame JR.
We have to talk about
in overtime. You got 5 more minutes to win this game. You see him pound on the bench, get mad at everybody. Then the Warriors just took him out, took their heart.
So let me address your first point, because you're jumping all over the place. You're jumping all over the place here. So do you want to know? Do you want to know why I consider him the GOAT, or do you want? So when you are talking about greatest basketball player of all time, you are talking about an entire picture.
All around skill set. Right?
All around, every skill set, intangibles.
My one question, real quick. So with this all-around thing, we are including defense.
Correct.
Cool.
We are. That's everything.
I just want to make sure it's
2012 MVP when he shut him down. That's like
So you're telling me? Let me finish what the debate is.
Continue, go ahead.
So when you're talking about greatest of all time, you have to consider everything. Okay. All right. We're talking about a guy here since 2007 has been a staple for a winning franchise. I'm talking about either in the finals or in the Eastern Conference Finals. Every single year since 2007. That was his 4th year. He was 21 playing with Eric Snow, Ilgauskas.
What's the other dude with the curly hair? He was there too. Anderson Varejao.
Anderson Varejao.
He was there too.
Real quick, listen to this name. Larry Hughes.
Larry Hughes, go ahead.
Real quick.
Larry.
Y'all remember this name? Alexander Pekovic. Yeah. We're talking about guys that we're talking about guys that don't belong in the NBA Finals. Okay. And he literally willed. Do you remember that Piston series? Right. Do you remember that Piston series?
Yeah. My favorite game he ever did. Yeah.
Oh, my soul. My soul. I'm talking about he willed Eric Snow as his point guard to an NBA Finals.
But we were saying Mike do that every night, so I'm not. That was not.
We saw Mike do that every night.
When did he not will?
We're talking about another Hall of Famer on the floor. We're talking about 2 other Hall of Famers on the floor.
Who?
Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman were 2 Hall of Famers.
Lord Jesus. Lord Jesus, let's pray for this.
I'm letting you finish. Go ahead.
Those are 2 Hall of
I'm
Famers.
sitting back.
So, like I was saying,
You did 86 when you dropped
real quick.
Pippen there? I'm just asking.
What? Say it
He
again.
was not there. He was not there yet.
Was
Say it
Pippen and Rodman and all those guys there when he dropped 63 on the Celtics?
That was in the 80s, and I don't think Pippen was on that team. They also lost that game.
Okay. But he showed up with 2 guys.
They lost that game.
2 leading scorers were suspended for cocaine.
And they got swept in that series.
Oh, he got him sweet.
Come on, I mean.
But here's the thing.
And here's my.
But Michael Jordan led his team to the playoffs his first 2 years. What about LeBron?
LeBron did not lead Carlos Boozer and those guys, and Darius Miles. He did not lead them to the playoffs his first year. Okay.
So Michael Jordan led Dave Corzine, George Gervin,
Carcass.
Orlando Woolrich.
Higgins,
Orlando Woolrich.
So what we saying here?
Mike didn't make the playoffs his first year.
Yes, he did. He lost to the Bucks. Come on, get
Yes,
your
he
facts.
did.
Let's
Yes, he
carry
did.
on. See, that's what I'm saying. I can't even argue with these.
Mind you, and I'm glad you brought that up. The NBA, and I think we can all agree to this, the NBA has gotten a lot better all around
Okay, so
since those years.
okay, so I was look.
But real quick, one more point. So since 2007, LeBron James has single-handedly taken teams to new levels. No matter where he's been. No matter who's on his team.
From 98 until
Go ahead,
89 to 98, Michael Jordan did the same thing. And guess what he got out of that? 6 out of 8. Let's continue. Go ahead.
My whole thing was, okay, so staying with this thing, like I was asking about the witness criteria before. My only thing, I have no issue admitting that man is a very good player. He's one of all-time greats.
Very good player.
I said all-time greats.
Okay,
I
cool,
said one of the all-time greats.
cool.
Y'all don't listen to what I'm damn, like, there is a huge respect level that I have for this dude.
Good.
My issue is when y'all get to talking about it, you diminish, like, so many different people's lives. Like, y'all like what Thanos did with the snap. That's what y'all do to other people's lives. When you start talking about him, and the revisionist history bothers me to a place that I just don't get. So the first thing you mentioned correctly, he did have Dennis Rodman and Scottie Pippen. Cool, no issues at all. But at the same token, as you said, he was a staple for winning teams. When he went to Miami, he had somebody Mike never had in Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade in the playoffs period in his career did things Scottie only dreamed of. Scottie just couldn't do those things. Ever did those things.
Not to cut you off, I don't want us to forget when Mike left to play baseball.
No.
Scottie was,
quick.
what, second or third in MVP?
And that's wonderful, but in the grand scheme of things, he did nothing and they lost, and he sat down and pouted like a big old baby when he didn't get a game-winning shot. This is the dude, so let's keep everything in context.
I'm not a big Scottie Pippen fan, that's first for me.
No, this is cool. I'm not saying you, I'm just saying a lot of people that are, your fellow witnesses like to do this with Scottie, where we put him up on his pedestal, that he quite wasn't. So it's like, y'all say he's not that good, but he's good enough to diminish Mike in the argument. Yet he's not. I'm not saying you.
Oh, okay, all right.
Just, again, I'm not saying you. It's what y'all do. Y'all take Scottie and put him here to make your case. Then in another moment, you'd be like, oh, where's Scottie? Compare Scottie and LeBron. How dare you bring Scottie's name up? So where is Scottie? Is Scottie just some little peasant that helped? Or was Scottie literally just like some people, literally a result of playing with Mike? I give Dennis a little bit more credit. Dennis accomplished things without Mike. Scottie never accomplished anything without Mike. Scottie was a scared little kid when he got to the Bulls. Scottie was a scared little dude the entire time through. When he had the moment to be a man, he pouted on the bench.
He had a good year that year. I mean, actually, what was he, All-Star MVP that year? Second, I want to say it was second, but he might have been third in MVP voting that year. They lost in the Eastern Conference Finals.
That is all wonderful.
And one more thing with Pippen.
I'm just saying. And I'm not saying Scottie, real quick, I'm not saying Scottie deserves to be in that top 20, top 30 even best players of all time. But I'm not saying.
Did he have his other moment against your Lakers in 2000?
Come on, man, 2000.
No, he had his best. He had the most talented.
I don't like Scottie Pippen. I'm not Scottie Pippen.
And this is what I'm saying.
So I'm not going to defend him. I'm just saying. If Mike, I like how you brought up Dwayne Wade. I like how you brought up Dwayne Wade and Scottie, but Dwayne Wade doesn't have an MVP either.
Okay, look,
he doesn't have an MVP.
Hey, look, real quick. Look, I hear that, and that's wonderful. Dwayne Wade had one of the greatest finals performances ever.
Yes, he did.
Okay, just real quick.
Yes, he did.
That's wonderful about the MVP. I don't care. On the biggest stage ever, this is one of the game's elite gamers. We talk about some of the best shooting guards ever played. Can't have that conversation without this man.
I agree.
We could talk about small forwards forever before we mention that dude. Just saying, because we like to throw in these conversations, right? When we're talking about top small forwards, we can get to talking a little bit before we talk about Mike's little helper.
See, but when you went, it's generations, man. Like,
No.
Like in the 90s, you could not name a list of small forwards better than Scottie Pippen. You couldn't. You just couldn't. I need you to name two that were better than him in the 90s. Detlef Schrempf was better than Scottie Pippen?
He was better, but he was a problem.
He was better. Why are you even mentioning it? I was with you until you just did
hold
that.
on. There were good small forwards in the 90s.
Who was better than Scottie?
Grant Hill surpassed him.
Grant Hill, I would give you, was better than Scottie Pippen. I need another.
90s, you might not have.
I mean, there weren't. So you had the best shooting guard and probably the second best small forward. And Grant Hill only played 2 years before he got into the injury bug.
Nah, he was there.
Three.
He came in out the gate.
He came in the league, what, 92?
No.
90,
Oh, 94?
94? No, he won the championship in 92 at Duke. So 93, 94?
He came in 95.
No, it wasn't that late.
Yeah,
It wasn't that late.
I'll check it.
You got it?
I'll check.
It wasn't that late.
Either 94, 95, he was.
It could be 94, but I think it was 93. I think because they won back-to-back. They won 91, 92, and I think he was out 93.
93 was Weber and all them. He ain't coming that year.
He didn't come that year,
That was Weber and all them.
so he came 94.
That's what I'm saying. So he was there. I'm just trying to think of all the small.
You can't. You can't.
But okay, so I mean.
It was 94.
94.
So what you what I'm saying.
So what I'm saying is, real quick, what I'm saying is you had the best two guard in the league, and you had the second best, and that's debatable too, Scottie or Grant Hill. Even though Grant Hill had injuries. Just saying, I'll give you Grant Hill.
I got you.
Scottie's the second best small forward in the league.
Cool.
So you are going to win a lot of titles.
Okay, but my whole thing is, we're not. You have yet to name somebody else on the bottom of that roster. Like there was a lot.
Ron Harper was a solid ball player.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Kerr hit a lot of big shots. Tony Kukoc hit a lot of big shots. I'm talking about they had the perfect role players around them, and they were great. And Mike made a lot of them. I'm not saying that. Just like the Lakers team, what Phil Jackson does, and he doesn't get enough credit either. He makes those guys solid contributors. Like take Rick Fox. Rick Fox, it was a Boston Celtic, and we don't even remember those days. We don't remember those days. Huh?
That's when he was averaging like 20. Real bad is what people do.
What I'm saying is, though, he's remembered as a Laker, and he was a Laker role player. I mean, that averaged 10, 11, 12, 13 points a game. So what I'm saying is, like, in the 90s, and I'm not taking anything away from the 90s, but you had the top two players damn near in the league.
Cool. I got a question though.
On the same team.
And in that era, that was an era that was dominated by bigs. They
Correct.
didn't have any bigs.
Correct.
Right? And the way the game was played, it's not like they had those two in this era. But if you had that combination in this era, where you can't touch anybody, the bigs are like 6'8", 6'9".
True.
You know, you can literally go crazy and do what you want. And that era was a little bit different because, yeah, they were two of the best at their position easily. Easily. But when they beat their man and got to the basket, it was Hall of Famer after Hall of Famer. Very decorated all-stars.
One thing about Mike and Scottie, and this is something that I can't defend LeBron on when in this debate. Mike was a killer.
Okay.
He was a killer, and I'm same way Kobe was a killer. Like I mean, in one-on-one, I'm not saying you said Kobe. Wait, was it in Kobe slander?
Nah, it's not
Okay.
Kobe slander. It's just because that's all.
Continue.
It's what?
It's levels to the killer thing. That's all. Go ahead. It's fine. It's not the same.
I'm not going to bring that up because I promised myself I was not going to mention Kobe Bryant in this argument because I just want to let that legend rest. Real quick. So what I'm saying is though, Mike and that killer instinct, coupled with Scottie Pippen on his wing, and I'm not saying, listen, I don't like Scottie Pippen, but you had two of the not only best players, you had two athletic guys, you had two guys that defended, you had the best 1-2 punch for a decade.
They beat the Utah Jazz twice with the best point guard in the league, John Stockton, the best power forward.
John Stockton was the best point guard in the league at that time?
Best point guard. Now listen,
He was the best point guard in the league at that time?
97, 98, who's better?
I guess we never heard of Gary Payton. We never heard
knocked
of.
him out. That was 96.
No, he knocked.
98. Who was better?
Gary Payton was better than Gary Payton.
Gary Payton is on record saying I couldn't mess with John Stockton.
No, he was on record saying he was a bad white boy.
No,
he didn't say he couldn't. Come on,
say
come on, stop. Pull it up.
Okay, we will.
Pull it up. I mean, he was on record saying that John Stockton was a bad white boy.
Exactly.
I need to see that. I need to see that. John was a bad dude. John was a bad dude. But do you know John Stockton, Karl Malone? Who was their starting two guard?
Jeff Hornacek is easy.
He was checking Michael Jordan.
I'm aware. Jeff wasn't.
Could you imagine Jeff Hornacek checking LeBron James?
Yeah.
Good night.
Good
night.
No, do me a favor.
Good night.
Mavericks. No,
He'd average 40, 10, and 10.
Dallas Mavericks. Who's the star small forward?
I can't. I'm stumped on that Dallas Mavericks series.
Oh, San Antonio Spurs. Who's the star small forward for the San Antonio Spurs?
Kawhi Leonard.
Bruce Bowen.
Oh wait, in 07?
Yes.
I mean LeBron was a
But if
baby.
he had won, y'all counted.
He was a baby.
Oh, but if they won, y'all counted.
If he
was a baby.
If he won, you would be like.
He was 21 years old going against Tim Duncan, Manu, and Tony Parker.
But would they be saying that if he won it?
With Delonte West as a starting two guard, and
I saw Magic
come
go
on.
45, 15, and 7 in the finals at 20. I'm just saying, without Kareem against Dr. J and them boys, I'm just saying, on the road, step up, get it done.
I don't have any remarks as far as the Dallas Mavericks series, and in the 07 series, I give him a pass because I only give him a pass because that statistically was the worst team to make the finals in finals history.
Always
in finals history, that was the worst team to make the finals.
I think like.
Did you see the Bleacher Report? Did you see that? Did you see that article in Bleacher Report where they was listed as the worst team in finals history?
That's wonderful.
Why are they in that finals? Why did they beat the Detroit Pistons that year, who were clearly better than them?
Look, man.
LeBron James.
I will simply.
GOAT James, as I should say. I wish I had a mild and.
My biggest issue with this is like there's too many passes for y'all, man. Y'all gotta.
I don't make passes. You just have to look at the entire picture. You have to look at the entire picture.
But we're looking at the entire thing. You started the premise off with it is a team game.
Okay, but let's look at the
All I hear is they did this. They did that.
Can I ask you this?
But he's separate. You can't.
Can I ask you this? If LeBron, and I hate using if because if doesn't exist.
Go ahead.
If LeBron and Wade are on the same team, just like Mike and Scotty, for the duration of their career, how many titles do they have?
Who, them two?
Yeah.
Who's in the league?
Who's in the league?
Just in their time period. So it's from 03 to now, in their time frame. Because Scotty, huh?
Well, they were just.
Scotty got drafted to the Bulls, correct? And Scotty. Lord have mercy. Scotty is not Dwayne Wade.
So you're saying like what? Like prime Wade, prime Bron?
Prime Wade, prime Bron. If Bron stays in Miami and doesn't come home to Cleveland, they have 4 titles easy.
And why he come home?
But then we get into why did he leave? So.
I can't get into this man's decisions. I can't get into this man's decisions. This is a basketball argument.
We gotta start with.
This is just purely basketball.
We're going to take a quick break.
Amen.
When we get back, I'm sure this will continue. You're watching the Focus TV. Welcome back to the Focus TV. This conversation, I guess, is going to continue just a little bit. But as I was saying, Coach, I guess my biggest issue, again, like I said, I'm not saying with you personally. It's just, why do you feel there's a disconnect where it's kind of like when things don't go right for one party, it's him and then them. And then with the other party, they lost as a whole. I guess that's like one of my biggest issues with it is if it's team, why do we separate every time something goes bad? Then when it goes good, it's, hey, it's me up here and y'all still down there, but it's what we did when it's team. And I think that's my biggest issue with this witness stuff. Is you taking somebody, you putting them up there, leaving them down here. This is somebody we're midway through the year, Oh, y'all not good enough. We need more people. Cool. The trade happens. Championship. How's it? Well, TJ, who's a Mazzilli? You remember that old commercial? Everybody was getting excited. Nothing changed. You lost all the vets. You go to war. You have no vets. Brooms come out again. And then the first thing that happens is, well, that ain't me. That's them. And I'm just saying, like, this pattern's continued this whole time. And I just don't like how, like, it's not allowed to be addressed. And I feel like, again, not you, I'm just saying, I feel like there's just this pass thrown upon it where it's like, if we're going to, again, I have no issue with the man. If I feel like he was that guy, I'd have no issue being like, look, he deserves it. And I'd be right there standing for him. My issue is that I feel like things need to be earned. And so many passes and special stipulations get put on it. It's just too much for me. You either get it done or you don't. If you're the most powerful dude for 10, 15 years, what have you, right? Results is a results-based business. I don't care about the in-between. Technically, you're Thanos. You snapping your fingers and other people ain't disappearing. I have a problem with this elevate, you know what I'm saying, to elevate this guy to a place.
So
like I said, again, he's one of the best of all time, but to put him in that place is kind of like, on that stage, man, I don't care about the particulars. If you're that gifted, and this is the thing, I think this is a misconception, I do think he's good enough to be in a conversation, which is why I hold him to that standard. And to that standard being, when you get there, it doesn't matter, you take care of business. And if you are that gifted, which he is, this is a really bad man, right? Again, this is something
I'll be with you until like it's like you say something that's just like, I'm not with you anymore.
No, that's fine. You don't have to be with me. I'm just saying why I don't get it, because I can't wrap my mind about it, is that we get told like if you simply oppose it, it's hate, when it's just like, if anything, I'm actually giving a compliment to what the standard should be. I feel like we're moving the goalposts closer for someone who didn't reach the goalposts. Like, It's either you score or you don't. And looking at the finals record, you ain't scored enough.
So real quick, and I just need 2 minutes, and I'm gonna address a couple of things. The first thing, you know, in the debate, in the argument, like I argue with Republicans all the time.
Right.
And the first thing that I say about their guy, they hit me with, well, what about the emails? Like it's always that. Well, you did this, or, you know what I mean? So it's always that's an argument. You know, we overlook things in an argument. Let me tell you something about LeBron. Like I said, and like one of my brothers right here too will tell you. My issue with LeBron is some of the decisions that he's made and some of the things that he's said. Okay. And the excuses that he had. You as a player, you can't come out and say we're top heavy.
Okay, see,
like as a player, you can't come out. It's certain things that he has said that I have not liked.
Okay, well, see, this is why, and that's why I said I'm not talking to you personally.
Right. Well, I'm just saying. I'm just saying I'm objective as well.
Okay, see,
when
I can respect that part, because
you know what
everybody doesn't do that. Everybody will be like, nah, nothing bad, no, and it's just kind of like, seriously.
That's not me. And to move forward with it, now I'm going to jump back on this side here. Hey man. And this is no disrespect to those Bulls teams. I think the 01 Lakers is one of the best teams ever. Mm-hmm. I think the 96 Bulls was probably they're heralded as the best team ever assembled. We all agree to that.
They're in the mix. I don't think they're the best, but yeah.
Who would you if they're in the they're top two?
86 Celtics.
86
Celtics.
Well, I don't like the.
There's only like a few franchises in that discussion. You know what I'm saying?
01 Lakers, I put up.
01 Lakers, the 87 Lakers, I think too.
There's a few teams.
And I think it was 84 Celtics. Were there? Everybody. So this Golden State Warriors team has a legit. Real quick. Before you shake your head, I just need you to hear me out.
Because
real quick.
Okay.
Real quick. Real quick. This team has a legit 4 Hall of Famers on it in their prime. Mm-hmm. They have 2 killers that score the basketball. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say 2. I have to see more from Clay. I'm going to say they have 2 killers that score the basketball. I mean, 2.
That 1 on 3 hit on them.
I love Klay Thompson. I'm not going to call him a killer yet until I see more with him being the number 1 guy. I've seen Steph be the number 1 guy. I've seen KD be the number 1 guy. Klay Thompson is a hell of a third guy. He's the best third guy damn near of all time. Just the third option?
I I mean, again, I'm
as the third option.
I'm still looking back at some of those Celtics and Lakers things. Like, as a third
Who was the
option.
Celtics' third option?
When you talk about like
Dennis Johnson?
The front
like
line.
the front line.
Well, no. You got Bird, McHale, who?
Parrish.
Robert Parrish. That's a 2010 dude.
Parrish was good. I mean,
But
in the 80s at center, you had about maybe 10 guys that was better than Parrish at that time.
I don't know about 10 because he was in the All-Star game every year.
Parrish was good. But I mean, in the 80s, you had Kareem, Olajuwon.
But even going with that premise.
So what I'm saying is, we're going back to my original point.
Mm-hmm.
You have 4 Hall of Famers in their prime.
Yep.
Okay. What coupled with Andre Iguodala coming off the bench?
Yep.
Sean Livingston coming off the bench.
Yep.
Sean Livingston. I mean, you have a nucleus there that is ridiculous.
Yep.
LeBron had no Hall of Famers. It was just LeBron on this team.
It's about which team?
Oh, you talking about this past year?
This
or
past year.
The championship run?
This past year.
Not Miami. It's about.
So it's been 2 years with KD, correct? It's been 2 years with KD.
Yeah.
The first year they lost in 5 with Kyrie and Love.
So
The
And
years
Hall
with,
of Fame
the 2
already?
years with KD, yeah.
Kevin
got
Love's
2 wins.
not. He's a Hall of Famer already.
He's going to end up being one.
Is
yeah.
wait,
His
so
numbers
is he
are crazy.
right today? Is if you had to vote today, Kevin Love's a Hall of Famer?
His numbers, yeah.
Yes, man.
Come on, guys. Chris Webber's not even a Hall of Famer. Chris Webber is not even a Hall of Famer, and you're telling me Kevin Love today's a Hall of Famer? Chris Webber is not in the Hall of Fame.
They don't evaluate it off of just NBA career. They look at your college and they look at high school.
So you're telling me that Chris Webber is not a Hall of Famer, and you're telling me Kevin Love is?
Yes.
Hold on, real quick.
But you're saying Draymond.
I'm asking you.
And
Where's the Hall of Famers?
That's fine. The Hall of Famers that he's played with, Kyrie's probably going to go, right? If he says
should.
Okay, Kyrie's probably going to go. K Love's going to go. People like to do this thing with Kevin Love where they act like he just fell off a cliff.
Like he wasn't
where he
averaging
was one of the
24
most consistent dudes during those Cleveland times. People just don't care when he's consistent. They just don't care.
Well,
Like it's a
remember
choice.
you told me it's a result business.
Oh, I agree with you, but-
In the finals,
No,
he's been
No, actually,
more short than tall.
Hold on. Actually, if you look back at the finals, he's actually one of their most consistent performers. This is a narrative that's pretty false that people continue to perpetuate. He's actually very solid in the finals. His shooting is not the greatest, but he hits the glass. Look, just real quick. No, seriously. Like, look, after Kevin and Kyrie, trust me, it falls off, okay? Trust me. But I'm just saying, to be like Kevin.
Whereas though it doesn't with the Warriors. I mean, you still have Iguodala, who's a Finals MVP.
Look, that's fine, but we're just talking
Just
about
saying.
Look, you're going back. You're going back to the Warriors.
See how he smiled?
Because it's like you
He
guys
plays defense.
look what he's up against, and we're not bringing up the punk move Kevin Durant made.
Just real quick.
Lord,
And look, okay, listen up, lady. Why does it matter? If we're not going to get into all the excuses and the things and the bridges that a certain person may have burned, I don't care what KD did. Bottom line, you're on the court. You're supposed to be the best player in your generation.
Correct.
Cool.
And he is.
Again, cool. I don't care. Get it done. I don't care. Get it done. Same thing with Mike.
It's tough to do when it's a team sport, and
Dude,
you got
it
the
is-
Monstars
No,
on one
hold
side.
on. Look, real quick. But you're saying you better than Mike, so I don't care.
Mike didn't play against Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green.
LeBron James ain't playing against Patrick Ewing, Charles Barkley.
Patrick Ewing was one guy. He was one guy.
Can you let me finish? He ain't playing
Charles Barkley. Who was Charles Barkley's second guy? Who was Charles Barkley's second
Dan
guy?
Marley and Kevin Johnson. What's up?
Dan Marley, Kevin Johnson, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry.
Okay, so
Stop! It's not even a comparison.
Just real quick.
Oh my
Just
soul.
real quick. Why do you
Steph-
guys
Kevin Johnson.
Steph would dominate Kevin Johnson?
Steph, it's a two-time MVP.
Who gives a damn?
Unanimous in 1 year.
Every
Come
year.
on.
Look at this soft ass
Stop.
every
And
year.
I like Kevin Johnson. I think Kevin Johnson was a great guard. It's not Steph Curry. Steph Curry changed the game of basketball.
Hey.
Change what game of basketball?
Come on.
Shoot more
Hey.
threes.
Hey.
That John Ben started. Steve Nash, right? You just said like that. It's only started it, right?
He did.
Okay,
He did.
let's go back.
We're gonna
Steph
take
Curry is a
quick break.
unanimous
Hey, look,
MVP.
we're taking-
Kevin Johnson is not even a unanimous All-Star.
Okay, so I got a
Look at
question.
the area he's
No,
playing.
just real quick. I hear what you say, but you're doing that thing where you pick and choose over accolades again. I don't like that.
It's an
That's-
argument.
No, it's not an argument. It's
an argument.
No, it's not an argument. It's discounting reality.
No,
Stop.
I'm not discounting that. No, I'm not discounting reality. I'm giving us facts
No,
here.
but
dude that had
you're
AI
omitting
crime.
them. Like you're omitting
Got no shot at
things
this
that
stuff.
matter. Like again, the constant diminishing of other people to build this up is just so. It gotta be draining. Seriously, it has to take so much energy to pull this stuff out. Everyone like, hey, he wasn't good. He wasn't good. He was just okay. Like, come on.
When it's all said and done, LeBron James will have the most points ever.
Okay, cool.
He'll be top 5 in assists. He'll be top 5 in rebounds.
Cool.
All that means is he played a long time.
No, you know what that means?
But
all around, he was the best basketball player ever.
No, that just means he played a long time.
Discount the defense again because defensively he falls short.
Yeah.
He just stopped playing defense.
He stopped playing
It's
defense.
his 16th year. It's his 16th year. He just stopped playing defense.
Was Mama playing defense in the finals?
Who?
In his 16th year.
Who?
No. Was Mama playing defense in the finals?
Kobe.
Yeah.
Was he playing defense in the finals?
Who's a killer? Continue. Go ahead.
Kobe was in his 12th and 13th year in the finals. The last time he made the finals. So what I'm saying is, no, he was not playing defense in his 16th year. No, he wasn't.
Okay, so
Kobe was not playing defense in his 16th
Hey, look,
year.
real quick.
And Mike didn't make it to his 16th year.
He ain't need to. When you went 16,
Just saying.
retired.
Just saying. Mike didn't make it to his 16th
You go
year.
on the feet.
Okay.
He was smoking too many cigars.
Yeah, you gonna kick your feet up.
Just real quick.
You kick your feet up. LeBron got work to do.
We're gonna take. Hey, we gotta
Shout out
take
to
another.
Jerry West of this area.
Wilson said we have to take a
we
break,
have to take
guys.
another quick break, and we'll be right back.
Get them
Welcome back. As always, we gotta thank our guy over there at 9450, Jamal Hayward, for always taking care of us. And shout out to him. This is the 20th installment of the 9450 breakdown. This week is the breakdown of the hesitation pull-up, aka the Tracy McGrady. Again, it's the breakdown of the hesitation pull-up, aka the Tracy McGrady. I want to thank you guys for tuning in oh so much. I want to thank Coach Seney for coming through. Wish you continued success at Harford. And I'm sure we're going to continue discussion for like ever and ever, like Sandlot forever. But we're going to see you guys on the other side of this quick break before we, some selfless plugs because we can do that.
So, a couple things first, I'm going to slow it down. First thing, you have to shift your body going to the left because you're really selling the drive. So, shift my body to the left, shift my hand to the left, shift my left foot to the left. So, here, I have to get low like I'm driving because that's what sells the move. Same thing going right, shift my body to the right, shift my hand to the right, shift my foot to the right. So, up. Today we're going to work on the hezzy pull-up jump shot, going both ways. So first I'm going to show you how it looks going to the left. So a couple things first, I'm going to slow it down. First thing, you have to shift your body going to the left because you're really selling the drive. So shift my body to the left, shift my hand to the left, shift my left foot to the left. So here. I have to get low like I'm driving because that's what sells the move. Same thing going right. Shift my body to the right. Shift my hand to the right. Shift my foot to the right.